This segment is sponsored by Corebridge Financial. Gain access to a comprehensive life insurance product portfolio, actionable insights, and proven tools to help you deliver solutions for every stage of life. For one of the largest and most established U.S. life insurance providers. Visit CorebridgeFinancial.com.
Hey, welcome to our Corebridge segment for Off the Page. Our conversation with Tony Mancino, National Sales Director with the Brokers Network. Tony wrote a great article in the July-August edition of Aspire called Beyond the Rider, How to Discuss Living Benefits with Clients. Looking forward to hearing more. Going off the page now and welcoming Tony Mancino.
Thanks, Chuck. I appreciate the time to have this conversation.
You talk about many clients thinking they already own life insurance with riders, but there's, the job is done. But there are a lot of important things to consider with those policies, including living needs benefits. How do you bring up the subject of living needs benefits into the conversation with clients?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the biggest mistake we make as advisors is approaching the conversations as if we're trying to fix something that was done wrong. That's usually not the case. I like to frame it as an evolution of planning rather than a correction of planning. My needs evolved, and there were products that evolved to meet those needs, and insurance products are no different. In fact, they've evolved dramatically over the past decade. And at the same time, clients' concerns have changed, not just focus on protecting their family in the case of a premature death, but now, what if something happens, we get a cancer diagnosis, stroke, just needing care later in life. So instead of asking, do you have living benefits? I'll tend to ask, when was the last time we reviewed your policy and how it would respond if you experience a chronic illness need or a long-term care need? And I think that shifts the conversation more from product ownership to outcome planning.
There are two different major types, the indemnity style and the reimbursement style, right? So then what are kind of the trade-offs between the two to help our brokers and advisors listening to pay attention to?
The key thing to avoid is using insurance terminology. Clients aren't buying riders or products, they're buying outcomes. So when we get into an indemnity versus reimbursement, I tell clients it's really a conversation about flexibility. With reimbursement, you typically incur expenses and then document those expenses for reimbursement. And sometimes during those stressful periods of life, that can be, cumbersome accounting. But sometimes you can get a little more bang for your buck with reimbursement benefits. With indemnity style, once you qualify, you receive monthly benefits and can often be used however it supports your expenses in your care situation. That's important because I think real life rarely follows the reimbursement form. Maybe a spouse takes time off of work, maybe an adult child becomes a caregiver, and what the client realizes that value isn't just receiving the benefits, it's having the freedom to decide how those benefits are used during one of the most stressful periods of their life.
Wanted you to just talk about a few strategies for introducing living benefits into the conversation and adding riders later with the advisor's existing client base.
Yeah, I definitely think the best prospects are often already sitting in our book of business. I would start to look at the clients between the ages of 50 and 75 who accumulated assets, they're approaching retirement, or another key thing is if they've recently cared for an aging parent or seen somebody in their circle care for an aging parent. Ultimately, I think the ideal prospect is anybody who has spent years building a financial plan and wants to make sure that their health doesn't force them to rewrite that plan. Insurance products have evolved to fit the needs of living benefits, and we should be, as advisors, having these discussions with our clients.
Thank you for being with us, Tony. It's just great to have you with us today.
Thank you, Chuck. I appreciate it.
All right. Well, we get to continue the conversation. Like I said, great talking with Tony Mancino, and now with Corebridge Financial, the head of life distribution. Great to welcome Lisa Todd.
Hey, Chuck. Thank you so much for having me. It's terrific to be with you again.
I wanted you to speak a little further in your role in the carrier side, why it's so vital for financial professionals to have these living benefits conversation with their clients.
What clients are worried about today lines up very closely with what living benefits are designed to address. In our own research, the top 3 financial concerns are unexpected expenses, long-term care costs, and the risk of outliving your savings. Those are exactly the kind of situations where living benefits can play a meaningful role. So proactive conversations matter because they help bring options to life for clients. And as we think about those conversations, the most important part is that they probably need to happen earlier than people expect. Planning for these types of risks isn't always top of mind in your 30s and 40s. So financial professionals who have proactive conversations and are helping clients connect the dots, how coverage can support them today and give them more flexibility over time through living benefits.
That's so good to hear from you. And I really want our watchers and listeners to pay attention. We need to talk about it early and then often and make sure that it gets addressed. And the other perspective I think you can share with us is that it's really a sales opportunity, right? To talk about these benefits brings up new sales.
I see sales opportunities and service opportunities being one and the same. They go hand in hand. And we're actually hearing more of that from our distribution partners. It's less about how am I presenting this sale or selling this solution. And it's more about how am I helping my client address what matters most to them. And when those conversations are grounded in listening and understanding, they naturally lead to more relevant recommendations, stronger relationships, which will create more sales opportunities.
It's the right thing to do, and service leads to sales. I think that's a great message. Hope to see you again very soon in the future, Lisa.
Thank you so much, Chuck. We appreciate it.
You can find Tony's article on page 16 of the July-August issue of Aspire magazine.